So, when we come into spiritual practice, when we come into light working, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter at all because none of these names are real. And when you get to a certain level, you realize that all of these names are labels which don't make any sense, which don't make any amount of meaning to the truth of the situation, which is unspeakable. Because as soon as you start to label it, it turns into another illusion, it turns into another gimmick, it turns into another lie. Because the reality is so incomprehensible that you can't even speak it, let alone claim to understand it based on these little labels. So, when we come into this spiritual practice, we have a whole lot of baggage with us that needs to be dealt with. We can't just go straight into enlightenment. We can't just go straight into being a way shower or whatever word that we might use in this situation. I'm not saying that you don't have what you need already, because of course you do. But there's a simple little problem. I was reading in the Kabbalion, and it talks about the origins of this problem. And it says that the secret organizations of the world have been using a type of mind control that isn't with lasers or rays or whatever you might have heard on YouTube. It's far more ancient type of mind control that's been practiced for a long time. You have a masculine mind and you have a feminine mind. The masculine mind is the source of your ideas, the source of your image of who you think you are. The feminine mind is the expressed thoughts, words. So the masculine mind is more like the feelings and the immediate reactions which you have, which are not really in terms of words, they're in terms of more like a feeling kind of mode of mental vibrations. You have a masculine mind, you have a feminine mind. So what happens with this type of mind control is they will introduce archetypes. They'll introduce archetypes of how you should behave. So these archetypes, they latch into the masculine mind. You have the archetype of like a Bart Simpson type, you know, like I don't take no shit. That's an archetype. It's not real. It's just an archetype, a figment of your imagination. You have an archetype of, let's see, it's an archetype of the loving, caring way shower. Oh, doth bliss is so wonderful, blah, blah, blah. That's just an archetype. You have an archetype of the protective, caring husband or the loving, nurturing wife. These are just archetypes. None of them are real. They help guide your way through experience. They exist in the higher realms and trickle down into your mind and into physicality. What the elitists have done is create archetypes of control. They create these archetypes of what it means to be a responsible citizen, what it means to be a good American. All of these things are just archetypes. So when you come into spiritual practice, you're carrying around all these archetypes with you in your masculine mind, and they formulate your decisions, so they influence your reactions. They are controlling your mind. It says in the Kabbalion that what happens is that somebody who is not aware of what is going on is influenced by a stronger masculine mind, by a stronger archetype. They're influenced and controlled by them. So all of the ideas and all of the decisions are coming down from these archetypes. They're not coming from your soul. So that's mind control, because they have created these archetypes. They have created the parameters. They nurture these archetypes through TV and the media and through things on the internet that probably would surprise you. So it's important to recognize these archetypes and to not let yourself fall victim to the New Age archetype. This idea of, I know this is probably hurting some people's feelings, but this idea of the light worker or the way shower is just an archetype. If you cling on to this archetype, for instance, if you're feeling offended right now, it's that you're too clinging on to that. You're too much clinged on to this archetype that is secure. It feels secure, so you cling on to it. It feels good, so you cling on to it. And there's nothing inherently evil about that, but it is surrendering your own self to another person's image. Surrendering all your decision-making to an image, to a thought form, an archetype. I use this term archetype because really archetypes are like people. They're alive. They are alive. It's just that they're alive in a higher mental way. If you study the Kabbalistic tree of life, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about right now. If not, then I'd recommend going and studying it a little bit. There's some good information on it on my website. You go to Divine Alignment, click on Kabbalistic Tree of Life, it's at the top. I took a bunch of information from the Golden Dawn books about it. They have summed it up in a really easy to understand way. But the point of what I'm saying is that it's not you. You're not an archetype. I've seen this happening so much in the New Age community. People speaking and talking using this big kind of fancy language. You can tell who's into the influence of these archetypes because their writings will be very personal. Their energy, their feel will be very personalized, very separate and personalized. They'll be like their own little idea of who they think they are, which is not really their own, which is the point that I'm trying to make. It's not their own idea of who they think they are. It's an archetype that has gone into your mind. So, before we begin spiritual practice, it's important to deal with these archetypes. To go into meditation, identify them. Whenever you find yourself having thoughts saying, this person's bad, or this is misleading, or I don't like this guy, consider where that's coming from. Take a moment to wonder where that's coming from. Take a deep breath and observe the emptiness that's there. Because ultimately you're only emptiness, you're only silence. And these archetypes get in the way of your connection to higher self. Because higher self is not located at a distance from your own heart. Higher self is inside that space in the center of the toroidal field of your body, literally. And that's how we know that the hollow earth is a reality. It's not in the terms that people would think of it, but it's definitely a reality. It's the higher self of the planet. If that's not making sense to you, I recommend reading John Paul Melchizedek's book, Living in the Heart, and that will make sense to you. So there's another thing. The heart is who you are. So to be able to connect to this pure, abstract space of infinite everything, you have to go beyond the archetypes that are in the mind. Because the heart is where it's at and not the mind. You might say, but I am my heart, I know my heart. It's unknowable. It's unspeakable. It's the only thing that exists in the entirety of everything that has ever been or will be. You understand how amazing that is? There's nothing else which exists except for that heart. Of all things. And there's no way to sum it up into little words and labels and phrases and whatnot. So in order to connect to that and to be that, you have to go completely beyond the archetypes in the mind. And the focus of doing this should be going beyond separation. It's strange how these archetypes are the same for every person in the world. They're the same archetypes, yet we still find a way to separate ourselves from everybody else.